Beyond blown away at how fast you guys have purchased the new merch. Please use the code to get yourselves 20% off until July 10th.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Hey everyone, how are you all doing today? So in the years of the Galactic Empire, the Emperor largely left enforcement of his will to his apprentice, Darth Vader, who exercised it without mercy and extremely effectively. Despite Vader's success and power, there were a few times where Palpatine himself felt the need to intercede to influence galactic events to his will. We don't see any of those instances in the original trilogy beyond trying to turn Luke to the dark side in Episode 6, but in the prequels, where we saw him do all sorts of things, particularly plant things in Anakin's mind, to eventually turn him to the dark side and go against the Jedi. In the new one-shot canon comic, Star Wars Age of Rebellion, Luke Skywalker, we see Palpatine try something similar with Luke to remove him as the shining star of the rebellion. The story takes a few months after Episode 5, once Luke has already built his green lightsaber, and begins with the Emperor chastising Vader for his inability to find his son.
So after all these months, the boy still eludes you.
It is only a matter of time, Master.
You've had time. You must be stronger than you anticipated.
I will find him.
The Emperor isn't one for failure, though, and simply responds,
Of course you will, but for now, let me ponder on young Skywalker.
Clearly, the Emperor isn't pleased with Vader's apparent lack of progress. Luke has been a perpetual thorn in their side, and Palpatine knows that he can potentially destroy them, until he is either killed, turned to the dark side, or somehow taken out of the equation. The first two options are both ones we will see in Episode 6, but it's here that Palpatine himself attempts the third option, to take Luke out of the Civil War completely, and is almost successful. During this conversation between Vader and the Emperor, Luke is on a rebel mission to steal Imperial fuel for the rebel fleet. With his green lightsaber and the Force as his ally, he destroys an entire station of Imperial security droids, the same type of droids as K2SO from Rogue One. It's pretty sweet, and it's one of the few times that we really get to see Luke do some serious damage as a Jedi. After the victory, the rebels are about to jump into hyperspace when Luke feels a disturbance in the Force and tells the rebels they need a change in plan. The rebels don't listen to Luke, which clearly irks him. He is a Jedi, after all. Why would they not listen to him? As Luke feels these negative emotions towards his fellow rebels, suddenly Luke feels a dark presence shoot into his mind. It's Palpatine.
That's what I'm looking for. That little spark of doubt. I don't know where you are, and you can't even hear me, can you? But I read your heart, and you can sense the truths I speak. You're strong with the Force, but these fools will destroy you all.
Just then, an Imperial Star Destroyer exit hyperspace in front of the rebels, blocking their path. Tons of rebels start to get shot down. Luke snaps out of his semi-trance to fight the Imperials, but the Emperor doesn't relent.
They ignored you, and now so many suffer. But it's your fault too, isn't it? You let them ignore you, even though you know they're weak, even though you know you're strong, and you grieve. I can feel your pain, your guilt. It's too much. I can't put the vision in your mind, but I can feel one forming. Just imagine.
Suddenly, a vision of what could be fills Luke's mind if he were to leave the rebellion. He sees himself let his X-Wing down underwater and let his lightsaber go forever. He sees himself take up the simple life on a simple planet where there isn't death or destruction. He returns to farming. He has kids and a wife. Most importantly, he's not part of the rebellion. Whether they win or lose wouldn't matter to Luke since he'd be so far away and the Empire wouldn't be there. So to Luke, why does he need to stay with the rebellion? He can just be fine without it. This vision is similar to something that he dreams about at the beginning of the Episode 8 novel, where he dreams about marrying a friend from Tatooine. Luke could have stayed behind, but others would have suffered immensely, and Luke would have been happy. Just then, Luke feels the Force pull him out of his absurd vision of a possible future. He refocuses himself and shoots down Imperial fighters left and right. He saves the rebel fighters that he's with. The Emperor screams in anger.
Wait, boy, you were nearly there.
The Emperor tries to refocus his hold on Luke and convince him to give up the fight, but Luke throws him off.
No, Skywalker, you can't escape yourself so easily. Do you hear me?
But Luke has thrown him off for now, and when they finally meet, the Emperor will try to turn him to the dark side and kill him. Never again trying to convince Luke to abandon the entire war. At first glance, it seems like a ridiculous tactic by the Emperor, but when you think about it, it makes sense. The Emperor knew that it would be harder to turn Luke completely from the light than it would be to simply have him give up and not care anymore about the rebels. Since if Luke stopped fighting, it'd be just as good as killing killing him. The craziest part about this whole story isn't what the Emperor tried, but that it eventually actually worked. In one way or another, in episode 8, Luke abandoned the New Republic out of guilt, fear, and feelings of hopelessness. He let his X-Wing sink into the water and didn't carry his lightsaber anymore. He did it for his own benefit. He went somewhere where he'd be outside of the influence of the galactic conflict no matter who won. The only thing different is that he didn't have a wife and kids. He only dreamt about it. So the big question here is, did Palpatine's temptations burrow themselves so deep within Luke that they finally took root after Ben Solo's fall to the dark side? Or did Palpatine reach out to Luke again after Ben's fall and give him another vision? We have yet to find out how active Palpatine has been between episodes 6 and 9, but I assume it'll be something that we'll find out in episode 9. At least I hope. So do you think that we'll find out in 9 that the Emperor was the one who ultimately convinced Luke to go into self-imposed exile? Or is this just a cool story that doesn't really relate to why Luke left everyone in episode 8? Let me know in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed this canon video. Hit like if you did, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you, always.